I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We are again in the Epistle to the Hebrews. So far, the author has been trying to establish Christ's sonship, his position as second to the Father, as being greater than everything else. And in our last reading, he cautioned the Jewish saints who are falling back into the law of Moses, falling back into those traditions, comparing them to ancient Israel coming out of Egypt, saying, you have come out of the old ways. Stay with the new, don't fall back into them as ancient Israel tried to do. Now, we pick it up in chapter 4. In this video, we have a Joseph Smith translation. And what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is a translation or correction done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that have been lost or corrupted over the years. Hebrews chapter 4. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. For we which have believed do enter into rest. As he said, As I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and God did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. Again he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, Today, after so long a time, as it is said, Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Jesus had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God, for he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man... Say hi. My son wanted to join us for a moment here. Ooh. Limp hand. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. For the word of God is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession, for we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. This chapter talks a lot about the rest of God, and there are two senses of meaning in here. When we refer back to ancient Israel, the rest of God was the promised land. They can rest from all their labors, from their slave work in Egypt and from their conquests. They claim the land, they can rest. But we also, of course, he compares it again to God resting on the seventh day of creation. Our rest that we seek is in heaven. And when we get there, then the cares and worries and work of this life is over, and we can rest with God. But if we show unbelief, if we don't have faith, we will not attain that rest. And remember that faith is not simply believing that God exists, but it is believing that he is not only able but willing to do what he has promised to do. Ancient Israel didn't doubt God's existence. They did not believe that he could do what he promised to. That was their unbelief. And so they did not go to war. They did not go to conquer Canaan because they did not think God could bring them victory. And when the Jews turn back to the law of Moses, what they are saying is that they do not believe that Christ is able to save them. They think they need these ordinances, these performative laws of the law of Moses. They think that is what's going to save them. And so they are denying Christ. They are showing unbelief. Now, chapter 4 here has a couple of Joseph Smith translations. First of all, in verse 2, said, "For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them." But the correction here reads, "For unto us was the rest preached, as well as unto them." I'm not sure that really changes the meaning necessarily. I would point out that what the Christians have, what Christ is preaching, is the same thing that was offered to ancient Israel. But because of unbelief, they were given instead the law of Moses. That was added, as we read in Galatians. It was added to the covenant because of unbelief. And that's what he's referencing here. But this is specifically the rest of the Gospels, which they were told that they would be able to rest in the Gospel, but they did not believe, and so they did not enter into that rest. Verse 3, this is a fun one. Let's just read this in the Joseph Smith translation this time. "For we who have believed do enter into rest, as he said, As I have sworn in my wrath, if they harden their hearts, they shall not enter unto my rest. Also I have sworn, if they will not harden their hearts, they shall enter into my rest, although the works of God were prepared or finished from the foundation of the world." So I like that. This makes it so much more clear than what it was before. That if you harden your hearts, you don't get the rest. If you listen and you follow Christ, you will enter into the rest. But that last one, the works of God were prepared or finished from the foundation of the world. Everything was set in motion. Everything was set in place at the beginning. The whole plan was planned out and set in motion from the beginning. There's nothing is surprising God when it comes to the plan of salvation. Unlike what most Christians teach, that God had a different plan, but Adam and Eve messed it up when they ate the fruit in the garden. All of this was planned. The fall was part of the plan. The atonement was part of the plan. All of it was set in motion at the foundation of the world, at the creation. It was all set. But let us continue. Verse 5, in the King James, it says, "And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest," correction, "and in this place again, if they harden not their hearts, shall enter into my rest." Again, makes it much more clear. In verse 12, where it says, "Dividing asunder of soul and spirit," we have the correction, "dividing asunder of body and spirit." In other words, death. Dividing the body and spirit is physical death. Dividing bone and marrow is the destruction of the body. All this is within the power of Christ. We leave that here, and we will pick this up in chapter 5 next, so I will see you there.